Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Tariq, and today I'll be going to deliver the third lecture in ELA project. I'm so happy to be the part of this project, and you have already. I think you might enjoyed the previous lectures that were delivered by Sunny, the project leader, the old project leader rather. Now the responsibility has been given to Ma'am Yusra. So okay, first of all, let me tell you about this lecture. That actually this lecture is about three things. In the first place, you will be knowing about mood and tenses, and then the use of may and might, and shall and should. First of all, what is mood? Let me tell you some of the examples that whenever we speak English or any language, so we make sentences. We make what? We make sentences, we make statements, we use different words, and those different words make different sentences. So that sentence can either be a statement, that can be a negation of something, that can be a question, that can be a condition, or sometimes you are giving commands to somebody, sometimes you ask for anything. I mean to say that you request for something, sometimes you pray someone, sometimes you wish something, and sometimes you get wonder and you are surprised. So all of these things, they are inside mood. What is mood? Mood is actually the various manners or modes of expression that we use by the use of words, and we make sentences. For example, if I give you one sentence that the earth revolves around the sun. So the earth revolves around the sun, it is actually a statement. So this statement is a mood. It is a way of expression. It is a manner of expression. It is how we convey our message to our audience or to the listeners. Similarly, if I say that it doesn't snow in summer, so it is again a statement, but in a negative form. So this negation of words, this negation of sentence, it again shows the mood. So in simple words, mood is anything which we express things by the use of words. Whenever we utter a sentence, that is a mood. But the mood can be sometime in a positive sense. There is a statement. Sometimes that can be negative, and sometimes that can be interrogative, and command, request, prayer, wish, surprise, etc. Now in English language, we have two types of mood. That is the finite mood and the infinitive mood. First, let me tell you something about the finite mood. Finite mood in English language is further divided into three major groups. There is the indicative mood, the imperative mood, and the subjunctive mood. Subjunctive. So first of all, what is an indicative mood? Indicative mood is used to make a statement or express facts or ask a question. Whenever you see a sentence, and in that sentence you see a statement only, or you see a fact mentioned there, or when you see any question asked, so these all sentences or utterances, they will be termed as they are in an indicative mood. For example, let me give you some example for the indicative mood. For example, if I say, as you see in the in the charts, that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a great man. So it is a simple sentence and it shows a statement. So it means that it is in an indicative mood. Indicative mood shows just only your statement, just the negation of something. For example, if I say negation, or you can say the question also, because for example, if I say that, do you work at bank? Do you work at a bank? Are you a student? Are you interested in this project? So these are all actually showing the statement sometimes, and sometimes showing the negation of something, okay, asking question. So that's why we can say that it is in an indicative mood. So indicative moods are actually the moods of expression, in which there is the use of a statement, some facts, or any question. Got the point? This is called indicative mood. The next type of finite mood is imperative mood. Imperative mood, you might have heard about the imperative sentence. That imperative sentence is actually a sentence in which we give commands to someone or somebody, we request somebody, and most of the cases this imperative sentence is it starts from the base form of verb. Okay, in positive sentence, when we make imperative sentence or when we make imperative mood, we start that sentence from the base form of verb. For example, if I say write a letter, get out of the office, study hard and don't waste time, help me in my English spellings, etc. So these are called imperative moods. But sometimes the imperative mood be in the positive sense, and sometimes it can be negative. So negative imperative moods, they start from don't. For example, say don't do this thing, don't smoke, okay, don't waste your time, etc. They are called imperative moods. So imperative moods, they are the mood in which we express, for example, we express the order, we express an advice. For example, if I say that pray 5 times a day, it is an advice for you. Sometimes it's request. For example, if you say, please bring me a glass of water. So this bring is again base form of verb, and the whole mood is imperative mood. The third type of finite mood is subjunctive mood. Subjunctive mood, it is very much important for you. You must pay your attention and be with all your ears, okay? Listen to it very carefully and with a lot of attention. Subjunctive mood is actually a mood which expresses a purpose, okay? Which expresses a wish, a desire, or sometimes a condition, which doesn't actually exist, but you wish for something. It is a condition, a kind of condition. For example, if you say that I wish I were a great scholar, I wish I were the leader of ELA project, or I wish I were the admin of English Literary Bird. So these are all actually, your wishes, your desires, your purpose. So whenever there is a sentence in which you see such kind of things, for example, you see a purpose, you see a wish, you see a desire, okay, in which you see a condition, a kind of condition. How, for example, condition is like this. For example, if I were you, I would help him or help them, okay. If, for example, it is again your wish that if I were the president or if I were the prime minister of Pakistan, I would kill everyone. So these are actually the subjunctive moods in which you see your desires, your wishes, and the purpose of your expression. This is called the subjunctive mood. The third and final type of the finite mood is the subjunctive mood. And so, one thing is very important about subjunctive mood, that in subjunctive mood we don't follow the rules. It is actually the violation of rules. For example, you see here that if I wish I were. So in most of the cases we use were with plural subjects, but in this case we used were with the singular first person singular pronoun I, because it is in a subjunctive mood. It shows a wish, it shows a hope, a purpose. So that's why in subjunctive mood we don't follow the rules, okay, we don't follow the rules. Similarly, if I say that I hope he gets success, I hope he get success. So in this case, he gets success. We don't say that he gets success. We remove the s after get. We say get success, not gets success. As we do with the third person singular pronouns, with he, she, it, or singular nouns, we add s with the first form of the verb. But in this case, it is in a subjunctive mood. So in subjunctive mood, we don't follow the rules. It is a violation of the rules. So this is subjunctive mood. Let me give some other examples of the subjunctive mood. That Allah Almighty save you from a bad time. Allah Almighty save you from a bad time. It is a kind of prayer for you, a wish for you. Or for example, if I were you, I would give him permission to go home. Or no one was hurt in the accident, So it is again a supposed condition. So this is all about the finite mood and its three types. The next type of mood, there is the infinitive mood. Infinitive mood is very much important as well. Let me tell you what is in infinitive first. Infinitive is actually 2 plus base form of verb. Base form of verb means the first form. There is a difference between the first form of verb and the base form of verb, but just the first form we consider here the base form. For example, if I say to go, to eat, so you see to eat, there is to and there is eat. Eat is the base form of verb and it is preceded by to eat. So to eat is actually an infinitive mood. So whenever you see a sentence and there is to and that to is followed by the base form of verb, so that must be an infinitive mood. For example, you might have heard the famous soliloquy in Hamlet that to be or not to be, that is the question. It is a famous soliloquy you might have heard. And you might have also heard, for example, to err is human, to forgive divine. So to err is the first form of verb. To forgive divine, it is again the first form of verb, and they are preceded by to. That's why they are called infinitives. So in English language, infinitive is actually the combination of to plus base form of verb. That is called to infinitive. There is another kind of infinitive in English language. There is called bare infinitive. So bare infinitive is actually an infinitive which is without to. Okay. For example, there are some words, for example, in exceptions words, in which you cannot use to after the verbs. For example, there are words, for example, let. When you use let, so you are not supposed to write to before the base form of verb. For example, let him go. You cannot say that let him to go, because when you use let, so you are not allowed to use to before that form of verb. Similarly, there is another verb, need. So when you use need, then you are not supposed to use the to infinitive, but you will use bare infinitive. Bare infinitive means without to, base form of verb without to. For example, we need not go to the office today. You will not say that we need not to go, okay? Because when you use need, so you are not supposed to write to before that base form of verb. The other verbs are there, dare, please, lit, bid, etc. These are words, they are an exception, they are exceptional words. When you use them, then they are followed by bare infinitive, not to infinitive. So this is all about the mood. Now we are switching towards an important topic, and that is about a tense. Tense is very much important for you, both here that you must know about tense. Because of this tense, you will be able to make correct sentences, and you will be able to speak according to situations. So it is very much important. Besides, it is also important for active voices and passive voices and the direct and indirect narrations, which are to be done later in this phase. So you must know the structure of each tense, and you must also know about the idea that which tense is used where and for what kind of activities. So it is very much important for you. So basically, what is actually a tense? So tense is actually the expression of location in time of an action or state. When you express any state, when you express any action in time, so that becomes a tense. And that state or action that is shown by the word verb. You know about verb. It was, a very much important part of speech. You already have studied about parts of speech. So verb is also the major part of speech. So this very word verb, it shows the action and state, and in this way, verbs have got two types: the dynamic verb, which shows an action, and the static verb, which shows the state. So tense is actually that expression of location in time in action or state, and that state in actions, they are shown by the word verb. So generally speaking, in English language we have, yes, you know that we have three tenses: this present tense, past tense, and future tense. But it was, this categorization was done in the traditional grammar, the old grammar. But nowadays, in modern grammar, we say that there is no future tense. In modern grammar, we say that we have just two tenses, there is present tense and past tense, because future tense in English language, it is not grammaticalized. But still we will study about future is a separate tense in English language. So generally speaking, so now we have, three tenses now, because we will follow the old way. So there is the present tense, past tense and future tense, and in each tense we further have four subgroups. For example, in present tense we have present indefinite tense, then it is also called simple present tense, then present continuous tense, it is again called present progressive tense, and then present perfect tense, and then present perfect continuous tense. Same is the case with past tense. So past tense has further tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. Then again simple future tense, future continuous or progressive tense, then future perfect tense, and then future perfect continuous tense. So first of all, we are doing the first tense, that is simple present tense. So the basic structure you see of simple present tense is that in positive sentences there will be subjects, and those subjects, they will be followed by the first form of verb, and then after those verbs object, sometimes noun, etc. But you must know about this a tricky point, that sometimes we add s, es or ies to the first form of verb when the subjects are he, she, it, or a singular noun. When there are singular nouns or he, she, it, then we will add s, es or ies to the first form of the verb. For example, you see in the example that for example, he, she, it or singular noun writes a letter. Okay, writes. You see s here, but this is removed. This s is removed. When the subjects are I, we, you, they, and plural nouns. For example, you see that I write a letter, etc., or I play cricket, or I eat something. So you will not add s when the subjects are plural or I, but you will add s when the subjects are singular, third person singular. They are called third person singular and a singular noun. In question sentences, you will use do not with the subjects I, we, you, they, and plural nouns, and does not with the subjects he, she, it, or singular noun. And then in negative sentences, you will not add s, okay, because of does not. So this is the structure for the positive sentences and negative sentences. You don't see any structure for the question sentence, but question sentences, they are made when you bring do or does in the beginning of the sentences. This is simple present tense. Now let me tell you something about simple present tense, that when we will use this simple present tense. So first of all, simple present tense, it is used for habitual or routine or day-to-day activities. For example, you do always, you pray, okay, it's your habit, it is your daily routine that you pray. So this praying, this praying will be described, and will be, you will tell about this in simple present tense. You will say, for example, I pray 5 times a day. For example, you go to school daily, that's your daily routine, so you will use simple present tense for these activities, that you go to school, you prepare, for example, lunch, breakfast, dinner, it's your daily routine, okay? So simple present tense is used for day-to-day activities, for daily routines. This is the first use. Simple present tense can also be used for the universal truths, those truths which are acceptable to everyone. That is called universal truth. For example, we say that the earth revolves around the sun. It is a universal truth. It is acceptable to all. And for example, you say that God deeply loves his creatures. So it is a universal truth. So these are some of the uses of simple present tense. Simple present tense can also be used in newspaper headlines. When you see a headline in the newspaper, there is in simple present tense, so it will show a story in the past. For example, you see that Pakistan beats India in the cricket match. So Pakistan beats India. So actually it is in simple present tense, but the story after this heading, that will be in the past tense. For example, you will see that there was a match between Pakistan and India. Pakistan, for example, won the toss and chose to bat first. Pakistan batted this thing, chased, batted, scored, etc. So every verb will be second. There will be in the past tense, but the heading will be in the present tense. So this all about simple present tense. The next tense, that is present continuous tense. So the structure of present continuous tense is that in positive sentences we use subjects, and these subjects are followed by helping verbs. We use 3 helping verbs in present continuous tense, and they are is, am, and are. Is used for singular subject, are is used for plural subject, and am is used with only I, the first person singular pronoun, and they are followed by verb ing form. Verb ing form, or you can say that it is called present participle form. For example, writing, going, playing, eating, disturbing, attending, teaching, listening. These are all present participle forms or verb ing form, and then they are followed by objects, complements, etc. So this is the positive structure of making sentences in present continuous tense or present progressive tense. When you want to make the negative of such sentences, so you will add not after the helping verb. For example, is not, am not, or aren't, or are not. The contraction forms you see that is not has the contraction form of isn't, am not doesn't have any contraction form. You will say am and not, and then are not has the contraction of aren't. So these are how you make the negative sentences in present continuous tense. So again, the questions are made when you bring these helping verbs in the beginning of the sentence: is he, am I, are they, and the rest of the sentence. And in the end, you will put question mark in question sentences. Okay, so this is present continuous tense. Now, when will you use present continuous tense? So actually, present continuous tense is used for those activities which are in progress at the time of your speaking. For example, now I am speaking to you. I am taking a class so I will describe these activities which are going on at the same time as I speak in present continuous tense. For example, I am teaching you. I am teaching you. It is a structure of present continuous tense. You are listening to me. So it is again, the action which is going on at the time of speaking, simultaneously to speaking. Okay. So this is the first use of present continuous tense. Present continuous tense, it is also used, for example, for those activities which are temporarily stopped. Okay, which are temporarily stopped. For example, at home, when you are at home, you write something. For example, you write a novel. You study for CSS, for example, and you are now out of your home, and somebody asks you that what are you doing these days? So you say that I am writing a novel. You don't write the novel when you are there with the person. When you are talking about the novel, you actually don't write that time, but at home, when you go home, you will start writing that novel again. You have temporarily stopped writing that novel. Okay, so present continuous tense is again used for such activities which are temporarily stopped. Okay, and again, for example, what are you doing these days? You say I am studying for CSS. At the time of speaking, you don't study. When you go, for example, to your library, you will start studying for the CSS again. So it is actually an activity which is temporarily stopped. So for those activities, present continuous tense will be used. Now the present perfect tense. Present perfect tense is very much important, and keep this thing in mind that in every perfect tense we use the third form of verb. Okay, in perfect tense we use the third form of verb, or it is also called past participle form. But in every continuous tense we use verb ing form, and that is called present participle form. One is present participle form, that is verb ing form, and the other is past participle form, that is the third form. So the structure of present perfect tense is that there will be subjects, and the subjects will be followed by has or have. Have and has, these are helping verbs, and these helping verbs has and have, they will be followed by the third form of verb, that is called past participle form, and after that there will be complement or object. But keep this thing in mind that has will be used with singular subjects except I, okay, and with the remaining subjects including I, have will be used. Okay, for example, I have written a letter, he has written a letter, okay, and they have done something, they have studied, they have taken the tea, etc. So this is the structure for positive sentences. In negative sentences, again, it's very easy for you, as you did in the present continuous tense. You put not after the helping verbs. So in this tense again, you will use not after the helping verbs, has not, and have not. So in this way, you will make the negative sentences in this tense. So now we come to its meaning, that when will we use present perfect tense. Present perfect tense, it is used for those activities, okay, it is used for those activities which are already which have been started in the past but they are ended now. Okay, activities which started in the past but they are ended now, but we don't know the time, okay, that when did they end. For example, in simple we can say that the present perfect tense is used for activities which are ended at unspecified time. They occurred in the past and ended in the past, but the time is not known. Okay, for example, you say that I have taken tea. The activity of taking tea, that is already ended. That is started in the past, now it is ended, but the time is not known. So for these activities we will use what? Present perfect tense. I have taken tea. It is incorrect when you say that I have taken tea yesterday. It is incorrect. You will not mention the time here, okay? When you are using present perfect tense, so in present perfect tense, you are not supposed to mention the time, because present perfect tense is used for those activities which are started in the past, ended in the past, but the time is not known. So for these activities, you will use present perfect tense. Okay. Now we come to the last type of present tense, and that is present perfect continuous tense. Present perfect continuous tense, it is again very much important. The structure for the positive sentences, and that is again the subjects, and they will be followed by either has or have. And I told you that has is used for singular subjects except I, and have is used for plural subjects including I. And then has and have, they are again followed by been, B-E-E-N, been, and the short form of been is been. Okay, been. When you pronounce it in short form or weak form, you will say that it is been. And this been or been, it is followed by verb ing form, because it is continuous tense. So I told you that in continuous tense there must be verb ing form or present participle form. And then this verb ing form, it is followed by what? It is followed by an object. It is followed by an object. And then sometimes those objects are again followed by since or for, and then again another objects, okay? But now let me tell you that since and for, there will be two words used in these in this tense, for and since. For is used for duration of time, okay? When you are talking about the duration of some time, so you will use for. And since is used for point of time. For example, you say for 2 hours, for 3 hours, for 6 years, for 3 minutes, etc. But when you directly say the exact time, you will use since. For example, since morning, since yesterday, since 2010, etc. So this was actually the positive structure of the sentences which are made in the present perfect continuous tense. Now the structure for the sentences which are in negative form in this tense, so it's very easy, just like you put not after the is, am, are in present continuous tense. So same is the case here, that you will put not after the first helping words, for example after has and have. Okay, so when you want to make the negative sentences in present perfect continuous tense, you are supposed to put not after the has and have. For example, I have not, okay, he has not. In the rest of the sentence, for example, he has not been writing something for a long time, etc. So this is the structure for the negative sentences in present perfect continuous tense. Now I come to its use, that when we will use the present perfect continuous tense. So present perfect continuous tense is used for those activities which are started in the past but they are still in progress. They are not yet finished, or they are not yet ended, but we talk about the duration of that period, which or the period of that activity which is already started in the past but it is still in progress. For example, my lecture, let's take the example of my lecture. I am delivering lecture to you now. So when I describe this activity of delivering the lecture, so I'll use the present perfect continuous tense, or I've been delivering the lecture for last 35 minutes, almost 35 minutes. Okay, I've been teaching you for 35 minutes. So I am here talking about the duration of my time. I have started this lecture. I started this lecture in the past tense, okay, almost 35 minutes ago, but it is still in progress. So I am talking about the progression of the continuity of this activity. That's why I'll use this present perfect continuous tense. In present perfect continuous tense, we use since in for. You must know about them. That for is used for the duration of time, and since is used for the exact time, point of time. For example, you will use since morning, since yesterday, since 2010, etc. But for 2 hours, for 3 years, for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, hours, days, months, years, anything. But when you are talking about the duration of time, you will use for before them, and when you are talking about the exact time, point of time, then you will use since. So this is all about the present tense. Now we move towards simple past tense. So generally speaking, past tense is used for those activities which are already ended in the past tense, okay, which are no more existing. Okay, so the first tense in past tense, there is simple past tense, and it is also called past indefinite tense. So past indefinite tense, the structure of past indefinite tense, you see that it is, subjects and then all the subjects. Okay, it is not like in present simple tense that there were two groups of subjects. One was that of third person singular, he, she, it, and singular noun, and then the rest I, and including the plural nouns. Okay, but now in a simple past tense, all the subjects, they will be followed by second form of verb or the past form of verb, and then after that they will be used object or the complement. So it's very easy for you. Okay, when you want to make a structure in past indefinite tense, so the structure is very simple. There will be subjects, and all the subjects, they will be followed by the second form. Okay, like for example, I wrote a letter, he wrote a letter, etc. So this is the positive structure. In negative sentences, you must know that you will bring a helping verb here, and the helping verb here is in this tense, this is did. Okay, did. So you will bring did when you want to make the negative sentences in this simple past tense, and then did will be followed by not, and the main verb which was in the second form in positive sentences, it will be changed into first form. For example, in positive sentences you said that I wrote a letter, but in negative you will use write. but you will use did. For example, I did not write a letter. I wrote a letter, but I did not write a letter. I went somewhere, but I did not go, because go is the first form and went is the second form. In positive sentences you will use second form, but in negative sentences you will use first form and along with the use of did not. In question sentences you will bring did in the beginning of the sentences. Okay, so this is the structure of simple past tense in both positive sentences and negative and even question. Now we come to its use, that when we will use past indefinite tense. So keep this thing in mind, that past indefinite tense and the previous tense and present perfect tense, they are almost near to each other, but there is a little difference between them. We defined present perfect tense in such a way that it is a tense which is used for those activities which are ended in the past but the time is not known. But here in this past indefinite tense, it is used for those activities which started in the past, ended in the past, but the time is known at specified time, at a specific time. For example, I wrote a letter. Okay, so I'll mention the time. I wrote a letter yesterday. Okay, you must mention the time here. Okay, but previously in present perfect tense you are not supposed to mention the time. For example, you said that I have written a letter, but not the time. You will not mention the time. But in past indefinite tense, in this tense, you will mention the time. Okay, because when we define past indefinite tense, so it is a tense which is used for those activities which are started in the past, ended in the past at specified time, at a known time. Got a point? Sometimes we don't mention the time, but that time is already known from the context. For example, if I say I went to Peshawar yesterday, so it is a context is now given that I went to Peshawar yesterday. But when I talk about my rest of the activities, I don't say yesterday again. For example, I went to Peshawar yesterday, I saw people there. I don't say that I saw people there yesterday, because I have already given the context that I went there yesterday, so I'm not supposed to mention the time again. The time is already known from the context now. So I saw people, I bought this thing, that thing, I visited that, I swam in the pond, etc. So you will use second form and you are not supposed to mention the time again, because the time is the time is now shown from the context that you went there yesterday. So this is all about present past indefinite tense or simple past tense. The next tense is past continuous tense. So I told you that in every continuous tense there must be verb ing form or present participle form. Now I'll just tell you the structure. Okay, their detail, it will take too much time, so I'll do things now in a little hurry. Okay, so past continuous tense, the structure for past continuous tense is that there will be subjects, and those subjects will be followed by either was or were, and then verb ing form and object or the complement. Okay, was will be used for the singular subjects, and were will be used for the plural subjects. Okay, and this is the positive structure. For the negative sentences, again the same structure. There this sentence already has what? The helping verbs. So it is easy to make the negative forms, because when we have helping verbs in the sentences and when we want to make the negative of those sentences, so we just put not after those helping verbs. For example, I wasn't, okay, they were not, okay, or they weren't, etc. So these are, how to make the negative sentences in past continuous tense. Was and were, they will be followed by not, and there will be no change in the verb form. So this is the structure of past continuous tense. Okay. Now past perfect tense. Past perfect tense is actually a tense. It is again used for certain activities which are already ended in the past. Okay, but before another activity. Okay, now we are just going to a structure that how to make past perfect tense in sentences form. So the structure for positive sentences is that there will be subjects in all the subjects, and they will be followed by head, H-A-D, head, and as it is perfect tense, so every perfect tense has the third form of verb or past participle form of verb. So there will be head, and their head will be followed by the third form of verb, and then there will be objects and components. For example, as the structures are already given, that you had, for example, written a letter, okay, or I had written a letter. So had will be used with every subjects, okay. There is no subject verb restrictions, okay. With every subjects, had will be used in positive sentences. And negative sentences again, had is a helping verb, so a helping verb will be followed by not, and the sentence will become negative. So for example,